Good morning, everyone. Welcome to What's New in Syncro. I am Crystal. I'm part of the team here, and I absolutely love these webinars. Just a couple housekeeping things. I was just going to let everyone know. Of course, this is being recorded, and we will post this on our YouTube channel for sure. The other thing is that I use the Q&A primarily instead of the chat, just so that I can kind of organize and keep track of any questions that are coming in. So wanted to let everyone know that I will save some time at the end for a Q&A. And so what I like to do, and just a little bit of background here, if this is the first What's New in Syncro webinar you've attended, basically, I go through all of the things that we have released over the last about 6 weeks. I think the last time I did one of these was maybe the first or second week of October. So there's quite a bit to go through. So I just share my screen, talk through all of the different modules and different features and updates that we've done to just keep everybody informed. And then again, like I said, definitely open and up for a Q&A at the end. Our team is 100% community driven. So you'll see, and I'll kind of mention, there's a lot of these features that have been created based upon our community driven feature track. That's just who we are as a team. We want to build things that our MSPs can actually use and what you all are actually wanting and asking for. So let's go ahead and kind of hop right in. So I'm going to share my screen. So it's going to be that presentation again. Let me get rid of that. And we're going to hop right in. So one of the things that we've added, and this was, again, one of those community driven track features. So a huge shout out to Carl Howell. So the request was, hey, how do we handle when we have people from, a specific domain that create a ticket and then go home and respond to the ticket using their Gmail? Things are getting messed up. It's opening new tickets, that kind of thing. So we hear you, and we thought that this was an awesome request. And so what we did, if we go just into a customer detail screen and you go to a contact, you now have the ability to do additional ticket matching email addresses. So what this will do is it's going to automatically CC and match any tickets that are associated with this email address as well. So if, for example, in this case, if Brandy was brandy@syncromsp.com, and she also had like a brandy@gmail.com, you can put that there and we'll match those tickets to keep everything very clean. In addition to that, like in the ticket itself, what I was mentioning, where it will automatically CC, if Brandy had on her contact a matching email address, it'll automatically add that to a CC here. So help keep everything clean for you. So yeah, that was awesome. So again, thank you, Carl, for that. Let's see here. We added a drop-down menu to the ticket section on the customer details page. So let me just show you again. Let me go back to, everyone knows Larry. He's like our main customer that we use. So this was requested just to kind of keep things a little bit cleaner too and easier to access. So from here, we added this drop down. So if you're looking at your customers' tickets, if you want to just see all resolved or all unresolved, you can do that straight from this screen. Prior to this, you'd have to dive all the way into the ticket screen and then apply the filters. So this saves you a step there. Okay, one thing I was going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about all of the SNMP updates that we have applied. But in addition to that, just into the chat, I was going to drop in, and let's see, let me do that really quickly. We had a deep dive of the SNMP module. Our technical support team lead, Frank, did this in an open office hours the other day. So I just dropped that into the chat. So if you guys want to or haven't watched that, I figured that would be helpful to drop in there. But we added just a ton of things to the SNMP module. So let me head over to assets and RMM. One of the things is what we did when we initially launched SNMP. The SNMP assets were kind of different. They were like a different custom asset as opposed to like in this assets and RMM main screen. So we actually merged them into RMM assets just to, again, keep everything clean, more accessible to everybody. Now, the other thing that we did was SNMP can now be enabled on any device. So this allows you to actually enable that on, again, any RMM asset can be an SNMP device. So it allows you to monitor a server on the RMM side and on the SNMP side through a single asset. So there was just a ton of things that we continue to build off on the SNMP release, which was, again, very community driven. Let's see. Oh, SNMP related fields can now be filtered in saved asset search. So anything SNMP related, we've added this here. So that was, again, another huge, so you can enable like through SNMP enabled. You also have the search function here. So you can quickly drill down into an SNMP enabled device. Let's see here. I think there was a couple more. Oh, if you had an SNMP device that was a server, and then you also had that as just an RMM agent, you can now merge the two together. And for the most part, I think what I'm reading is this will effectively dedupe OIDs where applicable. So we've just kind of cleaned up that path, which, again, what we really pride ourselves on is we released SNMP. Awesome, version 1, and then we took in just a ton of feedback, and this is where like everything I just listed off was feedback from the community. We heard you, and then we implemented those changes. Let's see here. We also revamped the reoccurring tickets module. So we added a few things, like if we're just in a ticket, let me just go ahead and go to any ticket and make it a reoccurring ticket and just kind of show you a couple things that we did. So if we go into a ticket, and if you wanted to say, all right, let's go ahead and make this ticket reoccurring, you can choose, I'm just going to say, let's just say I'm on a demo and I want this to run monthly, and let's say at the end of the month. And then if I create that reoccurring ticket, we've added these additional fields down here. So prior to this, you weren't able to automatically attach an asset to a reoccurring ticket. So that was highly requested, as well as assign worksheets to a reoccurring ticket. So we've added additional options there. This is kind of like a complete revamp of the reoccurring tickets module. One of the things I was going to do right now, I'm going to hop into a couple other things, but I am curious. I'm just going to launch a poll. It's always helpful for us to know where everyone is at in their journey with Syncro, whether it's your first time looking at Syncro, you've been a payer for a while, maybe you're actively trialing. So I'm just going to launch a poll here really quick. If you don't mind just filling that out, letting us know where you are at in your journey with Syncro, that would be very helpful for us. Okay, this one, it's not really a ton to show, but we added the ability for non-global admins to access the reoccurring tickets functionality. So this was one of those things that if you were prior to this, if you were a global admin, that was the only like security group that would be allowed to kind of customize and create those reoccurring tickets functionality. So we have allowed that to just be in the regular security settings now. So you can enable that on like a technician security group, for example. Okay, this one is a fun one. So let me head over to reports. So it was kind of crazy as I was going through all of our release notes. It was like, okay, yeah, we released this amazing executive summary report builder. And then it was like, and we also did this, that. So this was another one that there was like version 1 was released, which is amazing. But then we continue to just add things, and we will continue to add things. So that's the other exciting part. We're building off of this functionality. So like just out of the box, that's worth just showing you, like we've got a couple templates created. So I'm just going to use this test template to just show you what it looks like at the an option of a final product. So you've got like the visual breakdowns. So when you're building these, for example, this is what's considered like a visual summary block, and then this is like a text summary block. So those are kind of just like the verbiage changes between the two, but they're beautiful, totally customizable. But if I go to open a report template, it's just worth showing, like, let's just go ahead and create a new one. And let's just call it, let's just say I'm testing, and then we can insert report elements. So these visual summary elements here, once you do that, then you can select which module it is. So we've added, again, like we've actually continued to add to these different report modules that are available. And kind of building off of that, again, I'm looking at this screen because I have a list of things that we've released based upon this executive summary report. And so there's several just settings that after we released, like, for example, this device breakdown, we added the ability to hide zero values. So this cleans up your visual reports. So we've allowed that. We also have giving you the ability to choose whether you want it to be like a total quantity or a percentage. So you really get to choose how you want this report to look and feel. Let's see, we changed the naming convention. So like when you save this as a PDF, instead of it saying like executive summary report, it now includes the customer name. So if you are creating more than one, it's now just a lot easier to find and organize and that kind of thing. Let's see here. Oh, for the visual blocks, we have actually added a Windows update to complement. We had a text summary variant for the Windows updates, but we added one here in the actual visual report as well. So we've added that. You can see, you can choose which metrics you want to display. So each different report module that you break it out into, you have different options. And so this is another one too, that depending on the type of report you're trying to build, this is actually pulling from your saved asset search, which is kind of incredible. And again, like, this is the power of having a combined RMM and PSA tool, right? So you're building a custom report for your customers, and you're pulling from, you can not only pull from the PSA side to say, how many tickets, what's your metrics there, how much time have we spent, but you're also pulling into a saved asset search. And so in addition to that, like, depending on which asset field type you select, you then have the operators change based upon like what asset field you select. And so again, just the amount of granular control here. So that was just showing you visual summaries, but we also have the text summary section. And then I love this, like, you can actually just add static content. I know that this is always hugely requested. If you add in a couple visual blocks that then you want to add some context and that kind of thing, you have the ability to do that. And then again, we even give you the option to like add a page break. And what's cool is, like, anything that you do create, you can actually move it around, and you just have full control over this report. And again, these reports are, it's a step in the direction we're heading for reports. Like, we didn't just give you some, static report. We went back to the drawing board. If you hung out in our fireside chat when Andy and Troy were there, we kind of talked through this, where I was like, hey, can you kind of explain what you mean by this? And it was really interesting just to think about, instead of trying to, the problem is that everyone wants a different report. So by releasing another static report, that was going to solve maybe like a very small percentage of what people wanted. So now you have this builder that you can build whatever style report that you want. And this is, again, just kind of like showing you the foundation of our process and how we think about developing new things. All right, so let me keep going here. We added internal ticket message functionality to Syncro. So this is really cool. If you go to your admin section, you're going to see in your ticket preferences, you're going to have an additional setting here. So if we hop down to ticket preferences, let's see. Enable internal ticket warnings. So once you have enabled this, if you didn't enable this, you wouldn't see this on a customer detail screen. So you have to enable that first. And then once you do that, when you hop over to the customer, you'll now have the ability, when you go in, you edit this customer here, you'll see the ability to add, here's your warning text. So now anytime you open a ticket for Larry, you yourself or your technicians are going to be notified. So this is really helpful, especially like, again, if there's only certain people maybe that should be creating tickets, whatever that might be. It could be any style of warning. So that's been really, really helpful. Let's see here. We added new template tags for SNMP. And so I can just show you an example of like where you might utilize that, whether it's in a PDF or an email template. But if you go to, like, for example, automated remediation, maybe you have an automation set up based upon something that's happening with an SNMP alert, you now have in these template tags. So if you hop here, you'll see all of these tags that we added there just to help if you were creating, if one of your actions was like, hey, let's create an email or a notification somewhere, you can now grab those tags, which is great. Okay. I can't really show you this. Obviously I'm in the web app, but all of our amazing chat functionality, we did add that to our mobile apps. So really it's pretty much everything that you can do within the web app, you can do on either the Android or iOS app. I think that the only other thing, what I can show you, this makes a lot of sense, just to quickly touch on this. Since we've added it to the mobile app, you now have additional notification center options here. So I'm just going to hop into like my technicians here. You'll see chat. So again, what you can do here and what makes a lot of sense is to have that be a mobile push notification too. So then that way you can access it straight from your phone. So anytime you see a chat on your phone, that with that push notification, if you click into it, it'll bring you right to the app and right to that chat. So that was awesome and highly, highly requested. Let's see here. Okay, this was awesome. This was really huge quality of life, in my opinion, improvement. We added the ability to add estimate charges to a ticket with the click of a button. So this is like thinking of a scenario here. So say you create an estimate and the customer approves it, and then you go ahead and create a ticket and those line items get brought over to the ticket. Now imagine if for any reason you had to make some changes and you had to reevaluate that estimate, for example. Let me just go into this estimate. So say, you had to add something. Prior to this new change, if you added anything to the estimate here, it wouldn't automatically add over onto the linked ticket. And so now what we've done is if you had to make a change on this estimate here in this actions dropdown, you can add charges to linked ticket. So if you add anything new, it'll automatically add that to the ticket, which again, super huge time saver. So you don't have to add it in two different places. Let's see here. We added a PDF template tag for ticket statuses. And so for those of you, again, I know a lot of you have seen, where PDF and email templates are, but I like to cater these also to people that might be, newer to Syncro. So one thing that I like to show is in ticket templates here, if you edit a ticket template, you have all of these tags over here. And so the tag that we recently added was this ticket status. And so this was, again, quality of life kind of community request there. So thought I would mention that. Let's see here. Okay, we added drop down variables to scripts. So if any of you know me, you'll know that I'll be the first to admit that I don't write my own scripts. And so I won't be able to probably like real time walk you through every single use case of these variables and scripts, but I will show you if you create a new script here. We've always had variables available for the PowerShell scripts. But so if we go add a script variable, so we've had runtime, platform, password we released just recently, but now we have drop down options. So you can even then edit the drop down values from here, add additional values. You can even set specific values as a default. So again, I would love to like walk you through exactly every single use case, but what I thought would probably be far more valuable for everybody is just kind of like I dropped that the link to the video that Frank did for SNMP. I'm going to drop this link into the chat that just kind of like Andy gives a pretty good description of how to utilize this module. And most of you probably know exactly the use case here. And that's where you'd find it when you create your new script. And again, if you weren't working in PowerShell, you're not going to see that. So it does have to be a PowerShell script here. And then you can use those variable types. And again, I always like to mention too, when you're even in the scripting module here, this again is where that streamlined functionality of having that combined RMM and PSA, this is where the power really drives from. These platform variables being that you can read or write to a custom field that's in like a customer detail screen. It's absolutely incredible what you can do there. Okay, a couple other, again, like kind of those quality of life things. We added reporting period option last quarter to all reports that use reporting periods. So like, if you were going to run a report, we've always given you the option to, like, I'm just going to go to customer detail, for example. We've always given you this period, but now we've got the ability to do just last quarter. So we've added that. That was a nice request. Let's see here. Oh, this was huge. I actually was just talking to an MSP today also that said they heavily utilize this. We're super jacked about this one. We added the ability to create multiple estimates and ticket templates. So recently we've given you the ability, and I was over here in the PDF and email templates just a second ago, but in the past we've given you the ability to create multiple invoice templates, but now you can do multiple ticket templates as well as multiple estimate templates. So as you know, same use case for an invoice. Some customers like to see specific things on an invoice or an estimate or a ticket, whereas some customers are like, I don't want all of that. Or again, then the opposite side of that is like, hey, I want to see every little fine-tooth detail. So you can now create different estimate templates and ticket templates. And so when you do that, you can, like with estimates, for example, you can create an estimate and you can change the template even after it's been created. But if you want to set a default for a customer based upon, again, what you know they like to see, what you know they don't like to see on an estimate or a ticket or an invoice, if you go to their customer detail screen and edit here, this is where you can choose, again, that default template. So now we've given you the option to set defaults for all three: estimates, tickets, and invoices. So again, huge add there, awesome feature. And I know people are loving that. Great. Okay. So thank you everyone for filling out the poll who did. I appreciate it. Okay. So now I think what I'll probably do is kind of pivot, and I'm going to try to hop through the Q&A. And again, I mean, it's just me, and there's a ton of people in this webinar. So I'll attempt to get through as many as I can. Yeah, so David says, hey, I'd love to know more about the community track driven requests and where to look into that some more. Awesome. So if you're not already a member of our Facebook group, if you just hop into our Facebook group and search community track driven requests, that's one place. The other place that I'll show too, I believe it's right on our website as well. So let me just bring that up too, because I can drop that link. I believe, let me see here. Yep. Here, let me show you. So I'm just going to drag this over onto the screen. So yeah, this kind of tells you a little bit about it. And as I mentioned that Carl actually had a community driven track on this one. So if you just hop to our Facebook page and head right over to community driven track, you can kind of follow what's been requested, as well as I think it's like every few weeks, Andy does a new poll or a new post. So just, you can kind of be on the lookout for that. Let's see here. How do you change the default drop down to show unresolved only? I don't think there's a way to change that. Like, I don't think there's a default that you can set on the actual customer detail screen where we added that. But what I will say is that when you're in tickets, and this is something I like to show, if you haven't seen this already, you can, I think you can obviously change this around, but what I like to show is that these are all saved ticket views. So you can create a new view. And if you wanted it to always be like unresolved, for example, you could just create a default ticket search view here that you could always just look at all of the unresolved. So that's one way you could do it. Let's see here. Is there a way to make a customized search for each user that they have different default searches? So I think what you're requesting, and maybe not, if it's not what you're requesting, please let me know. I think what you might be requesting is the ability to create a saved like asset search, but with the customer included here. And I think we're looking to do that right now. You would create your whatever saved asset search you wanted to create, you can do that. And then you can drill it down by customer here. So that's one way to do it. If I'm not answering your question, please, Jim, post more in case I'm not answering that properly. All right, Roger wants to know, and he like puts in chanting, backup update. Okay, the update is we're waiting till after the new year. And I know that Andy, like I said, Andy posted in our Facebook group and gave a huge update on that. So we are going to wait until after the new year. As far as I know, it's pretty ready to go, but we are going to wait till after the new year to release. Let's see here. I'm just reading these out loud, so bear with me. If I don't know the answer, I will say that I don't know the answer. Raj wants to know, is there a way to use a 2FA with live view or scripts? Example, if someone broke into Syncro account, can they be stopped from running a script or accessing machines live view with a 2FA? So I don't think you can turn a 2FA on for just specific modules. You can of course require 2FA for all of your technicians, which we absolutely encourage. And then you can use your security groups if there's certain levels of technicians or anything like that you wouldn't want them to be able to see that quick view or run a script. But I don't think you can put a 2FA on just specific modules. Let's see. So let's see, time entries in the mobile app. Christopher is saying that he's thinking maybe you can't, which you can log time. You can log time in the mobile app. Again, I don't have mine hooked up right now, or I would share screen on that one. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm reading these out loud. Internal ticket warnings are interesting, and I haven't used them yet, but I was wondering if there is an external ticket warning option. For example, I have a couple of customers that do not allow end users to submit tickets. Tickets have to be submitted by their internal tech. Is there a way to auto reply to the end user telling them that they need to go through their tech for tickets, which are then sent to us? So in that regards, I wonder if there's a way that you could set up a ticket automation. So I'm wondering if, for example, let's see, this is always fun to do just live. If we go to ticket automations, I wonder if it's like, something in regards to, I wonder if it has anything to do if you have a specific customer, if you have, let's see. I wonder, I wonder if it's like a specific SLA. If you, I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. Let me do some more thinking on that, Peter. I think there's got to be a way to handle that, whether it's ticket automations or even possible email rules, to figure out the best way to do that. Because I think you can set specific statuses, or which would then you could use as a condition to set an automation to then in turn send an email. So I think there might be a way to do that. On the fly, I might have to think a little bit further on that one. Let's see here. A ticket was created, sent the customer a text, customer made another ticket with a text, and it went back to the original ticket. On that one, I'm not positive. I know there's some settings that if you always want to start a brand new ticket, because I know that right now, if a reply comes in and you have in your ticket settings here, you have the ability to assign, if we go to ticket preferences, I'm just wondering, again, I'm literally troubleshooting this issue on the fly, so this might not be the case, but you have the option to set create new ticket if customer replies to an old ticket that was resolved within more than 6 days ago. I don't know if they're responding to the same thing, but I'd imagine that this might be able to solve having a new ticket created as opposed to it going into the old ticket. And for those of you, I thought what might be helpful to know, and Raj is saying we're not on Facebook. We are working on a different forum. So I think it's worth noting that we definitely hear you, and we hear the request to have a forum outside of Facebook, and that is happening. So that's exciting, and everyone will hear about it. We'll let you know. Let's see, do we have any updates on Linux, specifically for patch management or getting the Mac RMM client out of beta? So what's really excited about that, Eric, is that we absolutely, and this was, I don't feel like I'm spilling the beans or anything during our fireside chat with Troy Anderson. He's our CTO and founder. He let us know that is something that the Mac agent, we are working on a rebuild, and we plan to have that released in Q1. And from my understanding, that once the Mac RMM agent is solid, Linux would probably be next up. I don't have a time frame on that, or even know if that's like solid. So don't hold me to that, but that's what I know. Let's see here. Alan wants to know if we have any plans to expand customer-specific security groups to allow more than one customer to be specified. We'll love to limit a technician to a particular group of customers. Alan, we hear this. I don't actually know a timeline on that, but we definitely hear you. I don't have any further details other than that, but I will. This is all saved. This is recorded. We bubble all of these requests up as well. Let's see here. Christopher says, when looking at the customer, why would anyone want to see the resolved ones first? Could please add this as a feature request? Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. I hear you. Let's see. Is there a way to see missing products during a stock take? For example, if a product was not scanned, can we see the variance? Oh, Justin, I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I don't know. Because I think once you decide if a product's serialized, I don't think it would show you. I don't think there's like a serialized option of the same product that's not scanned. So I don't know for sure, but feel free to ask, just help@syncromsp.com. They'd be able to let you know right away. Let's see. Has Azure AD authentication made it to the roadmap for SSO? Eric, not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen it yet. Let's see here. I don't know. This might be a follow up. You cannot set the labor item. That might be a follow up to something that I already talked about, but I'm not sure what that is in reference to. How can you run a script on all assets? Great question. So let me just share my screen. There's a couple of things that's worth just showing. If we go to the screen, if you're on your assets in RMM, you can, there's a couple things you can, of course, like you can select all, and you can run a script this way. So that's one way. If you wanted to like, I think there's a couple other things you could do. Like you could do a saved asset search for all your different policies. Sometimes it's like I want to run a script against all of these policies, but you can do that en masse. Like if you had, so this, for example, these are all my machines on this bakes package. You could grab all those and again, do the same thing and run a script that way. So I think that's what I would probably recommend. Hopefully that helps. Let's see here. How do I plan dynamic with a website? For example, assets show fixed table to middle, but we are using a lot of columns and tables of assets too narrow. Yeah. I think that, so I think what you're referring to when you customize, like I could add as many columns as I wanted to, or there's really no restriction. The columns would just get really, really small. So I think there's some plans to update the UI on that one. And I know that we're aware of it. Let's see. Sean wants to know ETA for cascading policies. So as far as I know, that was something that we touched on in the fireside chat. I'm not sure if that's a Q1 thing, but I know it's definitely on, it's like officially on the roadmap and we're working on it. I just don't have a specific ETA on that. Will there be a separate app for Syncro Live? Not that I'm aware of. I have not heard that. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Let's see. Justin's saying SMS has no way of knowing what ticket the person replied from, just their phone number. So SMS will always attach to whatever existing open ticket is associated with the contact. You can, however, easily split a reply to a new ticket using the in top right of the reply. So yeah, you can split a ticket from the reply. So thanks, Justin. That probably clears up that question of it not creating a new ticket. So it says that SMS will always attach to whatever existing open ticket is associated. So thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Let's see. Is there a way to add a non-Syncro AV product, i.e. Trend Micro, to alerts assets, at least a status icon? I know that, I think the best way, if you're using a third-party antivirus, you could, of course, be running a script to monitor and have alerts being created and that sort of thing. Like we'll surface which antivirus is installed on the machine, and you can do a saved asset search to be able to recognize all of those. But I think as far as like surfacing anything, you'd probably just have to be having a script running against those assets. Let's see here. Can Syncro create an invoice in QuickBooks Online if we have our QuickBooks account attached to Syncro? Can Syncro create an invoice in QuickBooks Online if we have our QuickBooks account attached to Syncro? So Chad, the main functionality of the integration is any invoice that is created on the Syncro side will automatically get created in QuickBooks. Really any invoice that's created, edited, marked paid, all of that will automatically sync to QuickBooks Online if you have that integration set up. Let's see here. What else do we have? Will there be a Windows or /Mac app for the chat? So I'm assuming you're meaning like a separate app. Outside of it being within the web app and on both the mobile iOS and Android apps, I don't think there's plans to have a separate one. Yeah, Michael, like I mentioned the backup, we we definitely made, a pretty good post on our Facebook group, just letting you know, hey, we realized we said it was going to be middle to the end of December, but we did decide to push that out, and it'll be right after the new year. Let's see here. Okay, this popped up as an option recently. In ticket settings, advanced, what is the difference between customized text for ticket timer charges and customized text for ticket charges? Really good question. I know, here, let me go there. Let me show you. If you head to ticket and ticket preferences here, this is actually, we get this question often. If you go to additional settings, you've got ticket timer labor charges and text for ticket timer charges. So this is interesting. So the labor product for ticket timer labor charges, I'm trying to remember the main difference. I think it depends on where you're tracking your time in a ticket. So like the ticket timer charges, when you actually just hit the play button, I'm just spitballing here. I actually don't know if this is the right answer. I think it is, but the customized ticket for ticket timer charges, I believe, is when you're hitting the play button, the actual text that's in the ticket. Now, when you click here, you can see the different options. And then I think it overrides. So if you have this one, set, it will override the other one. To be honest, I think you kind of have to just like play around a little bit and then look at your templates. Cause it's funny. I just got asked this the other day and I had to do it on the fly. And now I'm like trying to remember, but all I know is that one of them, like only fill out one of them because they override each other. And I think it just depends on where you're tracking your time as to which one it's using. Let's see. What do we got next? Jason says, if you assign tickets to field techs who are using the mobile app, will they only see the tickets you assign, or will they have access to all of your tickets? If you assign tickets to field techs. Okay, so if this is dependent on how you have your security group set up for that technician. So if you go to security groups in here, let's just go into one. I just was looking at this earlier today. So it's just going to depend on if you hop down to where you have tickets here. If you choose that they only can view the tickets that are assigned to them, that's all that they'll see. If they have like a default view that shows their tickets, but you don't have that set, if they searched, they could still search whatever tickets they wanted. But if you have this setting applied, they would only be able to see the tickets that are specifically assigned to them. So these security settings are they carry over to the mobile app, I guess is what I'm saying too. Let's see here. How do you add labor manually to a ticket if you forgot to turn the timer on? Great question. So if you go to, there's actually 3 ways that you can add time to a ticket. And so hitting that play button is just one of the ways. So if you're here in a ticket, you're saying, you're a technician and you hopped into this ticket and you forgot to hit this play button here. If you hit this view log here, you can just say, okay, I was there for an hour. You can put your notes and you can add that to the ticket there. So that's one way you can do it. In addition to that, you could come down here and you could put it in the communications. Like you could put a private note and you forgot kind of thing. And you could add, if whatever type of labor it is, you could say I was there for 60 minutes. You could choose to charge it or not. You could do that. And then I guess there is a third way too. Like you could add or view charges here and you could start typing in labor and you could put it in using this method as well. So several different ways that you could put time in there if you didn't hit the play button. All right. let's see. I heard a quality of life for the chat to alert blink on the web. Will that be an option to the app? If yes, on either, do you have a timeline? That's a great one. So the request that I have heard most frequently is that, yes, if a chat comes in, that it could, like, you can have like an in-app notification, of course, but like something that like continues to blink. I don't have a timeline on that, but I know I'm fairly certain I've heard we're looking into that, because I can definitely see the value there. Let's see here. Let's see. The ticket timer charges affects all charges from the time log and play button. Oh, yeah. So we're back to the tags on like the customizing the ticket line item. So Christopher is saying the ticket timer charges affect all charges from the time log and play button. The ticket charges one also affects products added directly to the charges. Got it. Cool. That's helpful. Catherine wants to know, can we have a ghost fly on the screen on Halloween? That's awesome. I will pass that along, because I'm sure you guys have all seen the ability to add the holiday lights option. You can even do that in the dark mode option as well. It's kind of fun. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? I'm just like trying to get through these questions. So if I missed anything, repost, because I didn't mean to. I'm just kind of going through. Let's see. When we use the search option, it brings up the asset name, but you have to go into the asset to see the asset information. Is there a way to choose what shows up when you do the search? There's not a way to show that. One thing I do like to, this sometimes gets missed, that I like to just mention, like even on a ticket, if you hover over this, you'll see this little magnifying glass. This is, in my opinion, this is like one of my favorite things. So if you click that, you actually can see quite a bit of asset information, including custom fields. So this allows you to get some insight without actually having to drill into the asset. And anytime that quick view modal is there from the customer detail screen, the ticket, assets, and RMM. So it can save you some click time if this information is the stuff that you're wanting to see. If this isn't, there is not a way at this point anyways to customize what's in that view. Let's see here. Okay, Charlie said, oh, that's nice. If it's okay if I don't make it to this one, but I'm going to read it out loud. It's definitely a quality of life thing. Any plans to be able to make the system tray icon options like the updates or help request window, where you can create a menu types and assign those to a policy? Use case being, many of us have started creating policy per company, or at least numerous policies. But when I want to change or add something to a menu, I then have to go through every policy. Yes, Charlie, I love that. I absolutely love that. So one thing I will say is that we have like started that kind of that mindset where we do have these policy modules. And so like, it's not the entire system tray icon. However, I can see the value there. We did add like the agent contact forms. Those can be, created and applied like globally, I guess, across policies, or like you have actually like it's templatized. So I can definitely, I see the value there. I really like the idea of the full system tray, especially because we've given you so many options. So I like that a lot. Yes, Jeff, back up first week in the first in 2021. Let's see here. Chad says we support multiple locations and I like to type in the asset name without having to go into the asset information. Thank you though. Oh, got it. Okay. I think I see what you're saying. I know obviously if you search all things, like if you're searching the asset name, but like you can see assets, but yeah, you can't really see any additional information. Cool. Okay, Chad, passing it along. Let's see. Eric says we moved over from auto task, and one thing we're missing is start stop times for time entries and a subsequent flow into employee timesheets. Is anything like that planned? Let's see. I've definitely had the request of like, hey, there's should be a setting that the timer automatically starts when a ticket's created. So, I mean, I know that that is a common request, especially from folks coming over from Autotask. You do have the option, like you have an employee time clock that is separate from tracking time on an actual ticket. We have reports that you can see, like who's tracking time where, that kind of thing. But I don't have anything specifically on the roadmap just yet, Eric. Okay, let's see here. Catherine says something that would be cool is if we could customize the windows under each customer dashboard. For example, move the assets window to the top. Yeah, hide windows like the contracts one. Any future plans for that ability? I really like that, Catherine. So what she's saying, and I think this would be really cool, and I think that looking into the UI and different ways we can customize is definitely on our plate here. But just the ability to move, maybe if you wanted tickets to be at the top or assets to be at the top, that's a common request. I will pass that along. Let's see. Yeah, Justin definitely seconds the employee timesheets request. Cool. Okay. Is it possible to have ticket automation for each customer? Let me think. Let's see. There's a few things I'm thinking based upon looking into email rules, because I just looked in that ticket automation. I didn't see per customer. I know automated remediation we added customer. So there might, depending on where the automation is, like if it's starting, if the foundation is starting from an RMM alert, you could definitely use automated remediation. So maybe, let's see. Definitely for ticket automations, I think it'd be cool to do it specifically for each customer. Let's see. Yeah, I hear you, Eric. We've been talking a lot about this. This has been a common request from MSPs. I'd be curious to see what other folks are doing. Just being able to track it with everyone working remote, being able to more formally track or have visibility on what everyone's doing during the day. I can definitely see that. Is there a way to choose what tech/tickets show up on the tickets dashboard? Right now it shows everyone. So depending on which dashboard you're talking about, if you're looking at this ticket screen, you can utilize the saved ticket searches to go and actually search for which tech, or you can filter this way. If you're looking for the ticket dashboard to be able to customize that, let's see here. We've got, if we go to customize here, let's see if I want to, no, I think on the ticket dashboard, it's going to show everything. I think you can customize, like you can hide certain things or depending on the status, but I think it's going to show everyone's tickets there on, if you're talking about that dashboard specifically. All right, let's see. The invoice PDF preview window is extremely helpful as we can instantly see what the customer sees. Any possibility for a similar feature under customer portal that would let us see what the portal looks like to them? Interesting. I don't know if we have anything like that in the works. I will say, if you do, like, one thing that I like doing, and this is what I do like on our test account, is if I want to play around with the different security settings and what they have access to in their customer portal, we kind of have, like, we've created a customer for, you know, our demo purposes. So whether if it's a fake customer or your own company's customer, where you can play with the different settings and what everyone has access to, so that you could use that to test it. Otherwise, I don't think we have any plans, or I haven't heard of any plans to offer a preview of the customer portal. All right, let's see here. Closing in on time. Let's see. Ryan says, not so much a question, but more of a suggestion. Can there be an item exchange in one transaction rather than return items have to make a new invoice for new items? Ooh, that is a good suggestion. Yeah, I understand the flow, having it be separate steps. Huh. Okay. I'll definitely pass that along, Ryan. Um, okay. Well, I have done my best to make to make it through that Q&A. Um, and I hope that this was helpful. We really enjoy doing these, and it's so fun for even for me. Like, I go through all of the stuff we've released and I'm like kind of blown away every time. Makes my job fun and always challenging because I'm always learning new things. So hopefully you found this helpful. Again, this has been recorded. We will post it on the YouTube channel. And thank you so much for spending your valuable time here today. Appreciate it very much. And thank you, everyone. Happy holidays, happy new year, and hopefully we'll see you all soon. Stay safe. Happy days.